Okay, so puppetry, not what you'd expect for a career deep dive, right?
Right.
But this RoleCatcher guide,
Yeah, tell me about it.
total eye-opener.
It's amazing how easily we dismiss it, you know?
Like, oh, puppets, that's for kids.
Exactly. But then you dig a little deeper, and you realize how much depth there is to this art form.
Yeah, the guide talks about how puppeteers bring these inanimate objects to life.
Which is incredible in itself, right?
But it's way more than just like making them move around.
Oh, absolutely.
They're syncing movements with speech, music, lighting.
It's a whole production.
Exactly.
And the puppeteers are often the ones orchestrating all of it.
That's what I found so fascinating. The guide mentions puppeteers working with, like, animatronics.
Wow.
It's like high-tech puppetry.
It really makes you wonder where these puppet masters even work, right?
Well, the guide actually talks about that. Theaters, TV studios,
Yeah.
even theme parks.
Wow.
It made me wonder about the impact of all this technology, especially digital puppetry, on traditional puppeteers. Does the guide delve into that at all?
It does. And this is where things get really interesting. Because while it highlights the amazing creative freedom and flexibility that comes with the job, it also doesn't shy away from the realities of the job market.
Right, because it's not all sunshine and roses, is it?
Right. It's crucial for aspiring puppeteers to have a realistic view. The guide does a good job of outlining both the enticing aspects, like, for example, the potential for international opportunities, but also the challenges, like the competition and financial instability.
Yeah, that's the reality of any artistic field, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You need passion, but you also need a good dose of practicality. Speaking of which, let's talk career paths. I was fascinated by the guide's breakdown of career stages.
Yep.
They use these example profiles to illustrate each step, from entry-level assisting to becoming a master puppeteer leading productions.
Like a roadmap, right?
Exactly, and I thought that was really helpful.
What I found particularly intriguing was the mention of certifications from the Puppeteering Institute. It speaks to a level of professionalization and recognition within the field that many people might not be aware of.
Right, I had no idea there was a whole institute.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, given the level of skill and artistry involved, and that's when it hit me. Puppetry isn't just this whimsical art form, it's a craft that's been honed over generations.
Exactly. It really is. And, like any craft, it demands a specific set of skills. The guide goes into some depth about what it actually takes to excel in this field, and the range is actually really impressive.
Oh, absolutely. It blew me away, the sheer breadth of knowledge the guide recommends. Like, of course, you've got puppet manipulation, but then it goes so far beyond that. Script writing, character development, even just like adapting your performance for different audiences. It made me realize there's so much more to it than meets the eye.
What I find fascinating is that audience adaptation.
Yeah.
It really speaks to the puppeteer needing to understand, not just the craft,
Right.
but also the psychology of their audience.
Yeah, because what works for like a group of children at a library might not land the same way for an adult audience at a theater festival.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, you've got to tailor it.
And it's those subtle nuances that puppeteers consider in their performance. And that actually makes me think about that part, the guide, where they talk about the importance of incorporating music.
Right.
And it's not just about finding, some catchy tune.
Right.
It's about finding the right music to evoke those specific emotions and enhance the storytelling.
Totally. So it's like you're creating this whole multi-sensory experience.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it brings us back to that idea of puppetry as a craft.
Exactly.
It requires so much dedication, practice, this willingness to constantly learn and evolve.
Oh, for sure. And you know what? The guide section on career stages, it really highlights this aspect.
It does. I love the way they laid out the different stages.
Yeah.
From entry level to master puppeteer, using those real life examples.
I like that they use specific profiles.
Yeah, it was almost like you were following the journey of a real life puppeteer. You see how their responsibilities grow, how they go from assisting on these smaller productions to potentially like leading their own company one day. And it's not even just about like gaining experience on stage, right?
Right.
The guide also emphasizes professional development, even mentioning, again, certifications from the Puppeteering Institute. It seems like formal training and recognition play a significant role in this field.
Yeah, I was really fascinated by that. You'd mentioned earlier how technology is changing puppetry, and I wonder if that extends to training and education at all.
Uh-huh.
Does the guide touch on how puppeteers are adapting to things like digital puppetry and animatronics.
They do, which I thought was really interesting.
Oh, good.
Because you would think that traditional puppetry versus, this digital world, they'd be completely separate,
Yeah.
but they're not.
So they are actually, like, merging.
Yeah, the guide highlights the need for puppeteers to stay updated on new technologies and techniques. And there was this one section where they were talking about how digital puppetry, while it offers all these amazing new possibilities,
Right.
it also presents its own unique challenges.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, for one, it requires this completely different skill set.
Oh, okay.
So traditional puppeteers might need to learn how to, operate software, work with motion capture technology,
Wow.
maybe even collaborate with animators.
So it's almost like a whole other world of puppetry is opening up alongside traditional.
Exactly.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
And it's pushing the boundaries of what's possible with the art form. It really is incredible. So we've got tradition on one hand, we've got cutting edge tech on the other. Where do you think puppetry goes from here? What's next?
It's a really exciting time to be asking that question. The guide hints at some possibilities, especially in the realm of, like, immersive experiences, virtual reality.
Oh.
Imagine, like, putting on a headset and stepping into a world where puppets aren't confined to a stage anymore.
Next level puppetry. It's incredible how this art form that's been around for centuries is still finding new ways to evolve.
It really speaks to the enduring power of puppetry to connect with audiences on a deeper level.
Right.
I mean, you think about it, we know these are inanimate objects,
Right.
but they can evoke such strong emotional responses from us.
It's that suspension of disbelief, right? Like, you see a puppet on stage, and for those few moments, it becomes real.
Totally.
You forget about the strings, you forget about the puppeteer, and you just get completely swept up in the story.
And you know what else? It's not just about entertainment either.
Right.
The guide also talks about how puppetry can be such a powerful tool for social commentary, for, like, sparking these conversations about important issues.
Oh, yeah, I remember that part. It made me realize that puppets can sometimes address, sensitive or controversial topics in a way that maybe human actors can't. Like, there's this disarming quality to puppets that allows them to kind of push boundaries a bit more.
Exactly. Precisely.
Mm.
And that kind of brings us back to the heart of what makes puppetry so enduring.
Yeah.
It's that ability to connect with us on this really human level, whether it's making us laugh, making us cry, or even just making us think critically about the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
Puppetry ultimately reminds us of the power of storytelling.
It's like no matter how technologically advanced our world gets, there's something so timeless about a good story.
Right.
Especially when it's told through the magic of puppetry.
Absolutely. And I hope that's what you take away from this deep dive the next time you see a puppet show.
Yeah.
Just remember that there's this whole world of artistry and history and thought-provoking storytelling behind it.
I love that. So well said. Whether you're watching, a traditional marionette show or you get to see one of these really cool cutting-edge performances that's using all the tech, the animatronics, the digital effects, just, take a moment to really appreciate the craft and the creativity that goes into bringing those puppets to life.
It's pretty magical when you think about it.
It really is. And you never know. It might just inspire you to see the world from a whole new perspective.